Imagine waking up tomorrow and your grocery bill doubled overnight. Not because of inflation, not because of a recession, because a missile hit the wrong ship, in the wrong strait, at the wrong time. Right now, 21 million barrels of oil pass through a single choke point every single day. One war, one blockade, one match, and the entire global economy goes dark. This is not a hypothetical. This is already happening, and the world has no plan. For decades, Iran and Israel have fought what experts call a shadow war. Assassinations, cyber attacks, proxy militias. But in 2024, that shadow war stepped into the light. Iran launched over 300 drones and missiles directly at Israel. Israel struck back deep inside Iranian territory. And now, both nations stand at the edge of something far more dangerous. Here's the number you need to understand everything. $3.2 trillion. That is the value of goods that flow through the Middle East's waterways every single year. To put that in perspective, that's larger than the entire economy of France. Gone, disrupted, paralyzed. If the Strait of Hormuz closes even for 30 days, economists estimate a global oil shock that would dwarf the 1973 Arab oil embargo. That embargo lasted 5 months. It triggered the worst recession in a generation. This one could be worse. Think of global trade like the human circulatory system. The oceans are the veins and arteries. The ships are the blood cells. And the Strait of Hormuz, that narrow 33-kilometer channel between Iran and Oman, is the aorta. Everything passes through it. Oil from Saudi Arabia, LNG from Qatar, goods from the UAE. Now imagine someone puts a clamp on that aorta. The body doesn't just slow down, it begins to die. Iran knows this. They've war-gamed it for 40 years. They have anti-ship missiles, thousands of sea mines, suicide drones, fast attack boats. In a full conflict, Iran doesn't need to win a naval battle. They just need to make the strait too dangerous to use. One burning supertanker broadcast on live television and insurance rates explode overnight. Shipping companies reroute. Costs triple, timelines collapse. But the Strait of Hormuz is only part of the story. There's also the Red Sea, where Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen have already attacked over 100 commercial vessels since late 2023. The Suez Canal route, which handles 12% of all global trade, has already been disrupted. Ships are now rerouting around the entire African continent, adding 10 to 14 days to every journey. Every extra day costs money, and those costs land on you at the checkout counter. This is the mechanics of economic collapse through geography. You don't need nuclear weapons. You just need to control the right waterways. Now let's talk about what a full Iran-Israel war actually looks like. Not the shadows. The real thing. Israel strikes Iran's nuclear facilities, possibly with American support. Iran retaliates not just with missiles at Israel, but by activating its entire proxy network simultaneously. Hezbollah from Lebanon fires 3,000 rockets a day into northern Israel. Houthis escalate attacks in the Red Sea. Iraqi militias hit US bases across the region, and Iran officially closes the Strait of Hormuz. This is called the Ring of Fire scenario, and it is the one scenario that keeps Western military planners awake at night. Within 72 hours of Hormuz closing, oil prices spike past $150 a barrel. Within 1 week, global shipping enters full crisis mode. Within 30 days, countries that depend on imported oil, like Japan, South Korea, India, begin emergency rationing. Here's what makes this moment different from every previous Middle East conflict. The world is more connected now than it has ever been. In 1973, globalization was in its infancy. Supply chains were regional. Today, a Toyota car has components from 38 different countries. An iPhone has parts from 6. Your grocery store's supply chain spans 4 continents. Disruption doesn't stay in the Middle East anymore. It arrives at your door. Pakistan faces a fuel crisis. Bangladesh loses its garment factory's power. Sri Lanka, which already collapsed, once faces another implosion. Europe, which redirected away from Russian gas after 2022, now has nowhere to turn. Asian economies, which run almost entirely on Middle Eastern oil, go into freefall. And here's the truly terrifying part. The US Strategic Petroleum Reserve, designed for exactly this emergency, has already been drawn down to its lowest level in 40 years. The safety net has a hole in it. The first casualty of a Hormuz blockade isn't a soldier, it's a number on a fuel pump. Within weeks, inflation, which the world just spent 3 years fighting, comes roaring back. But this time, central banks have no good moves left. Raise interest rates to fight inflation. You crash housing markets and trigger debt defaults across the developing world. Lower rates to stimulate the economy. You pour fuel on the inflation fire. This is called a policy trap, and it's where economists go to have nightmares. Now let's talk about specific countries and what they lose. Japan imports 95% of its oil. 95%. A Hormuz closure is not an inconvenience for Japan. It is an existential threat. Japan's entire post-war economic miracle, its factories, its technology, its exports runs on Gulf oil. A 30-day closure could cost Japan's economy $200 billion. That's not a recession. That's a depression. India is the world's third largest oil importer. It buys heavily from Iran and the Gulf. A war doesn't just raise India's fuel prices, it threatens India's ambitious $5 trillion economy target. Millions of manufacturing jobs evaporate. The rupee collapses. Food prices, already volatile, become a political crisis. China is the world's largest oil importer, and here's the geopolitical chess move that changes everything. China has massive investments in Iran. It signed a 25-year, $400 billion cooperation deal with Tehran. If the US and Israel act militarily without consulting Beijing, China faces a choice. Does it stay neutral, or does it step in to protect its investments and its oil supply? If China enters the equation, this stops being a regional conflict. It becomes a civilizational confrontation. Europe is still rebuilding its energy security after the Russia-Ukraine war. Another energy shock, this time from the south, hits an already fragile continent. Germany, which runs on industrial exports, faces a manufacturing collapse. Southern European economies, already debt-laden, spiral toward default. The United States is better positioned than most. It's now a net oil exporter. But America is not immune. Global oil is priced in dollars. A price spike hits American consumers too. Airline tickets soar. Trucking costs explode. Everything moved by diesel, which is everything, gets more expensive. And America's military posture in the region, maintaining 5 naval bases, 2 carrier strike groups, and tens of thousands of troops, becomes enormously costly and politically toxic. And then there is the debt contagion. Developing nations Pakistan, Egypt, Nigeria, Sri Lanka, Argentina are already sitting on debt they cannot repay. They borrowed in dollars when rates were low. Now rates are high, and a commodity shock on top of that debt burden. These are not slow-motion crises. These are cliff edges. The International Monetary Fund has already flagged 15 countries as being at high risk of debt distress. An Iran-Israel war is the event that pushes them over. And when countries collapse, they don't collapse quietly. There are refugees. There is political extremism. There are famines. There are coups. The $3.2 trillion disruption is not just economic. It is humanitarian. It is geopolitical. It reshapes the world order. The last time a conflict did this, it was called World War II. So here is where we land. The Iran-Israel conflict is not a distant war between two nations that most people can't find on a map. It is a pressure point on the global circulatory system. And the unsettling truth is this: the world built an economic system of breathtaking efficiency and breathtaking fragility. We connected everything. We optimized everything. We removed every buffer, every redundancy, every backup system in the name of lower costs and higher profits. And now, 21 million barrels a day flow through a strait 33 kilometers wide. And one nation, armed, angry, and cornered, holds a clamp above that artery. History doesn't always give warnings. Sometimes the match is struck before anyone smells the smoke. The question is not whether this disruption is possible. The question is whether we've built a world wise enough to prevent it. And the answer right now is not reassuring. If the Strait of Hormuz closed tomorrow, is your country ready? Drop your country in the comments. Let's find out who survives this and who doesn't.